Have you ever wondered why some stretches of road in Texas have so many unexplained accidents? Why so many people vanish on certain highways, their cars found empty? What would you do if, while driving at night, you realized the asphalt beneath your wheels started to breathe? In the endless plains of West Texas, where the horizon seems to swallow the sun every night, there was Highway 437, a little used strip of asphalt that wound through ghost towns and abandoned oil fields. Locals called it the Hunger Road, a nickname most chalked up to the Great Depression, when desperate travelers starved to death on that merciless path. Marcus Hayes, a 34-year-old urban photographer, was driving his beat-up sedan down 437, running not just from Houston, but from himself. After his twin sister Melissa's suicide, his mind had become a maze of guilt and unanswered questions. Her last text to him, "Don't you see what's happening?" looped in his head like a tormenting mantra as the sun sank into the Texas horizon. Marcus watched the strange shadows the light cast on the asphalt. For a moment he thought he saw the pavement ripple slightly, like the chest of a sleeping animal. He rubbed his bloodshot eyes. He hadn't slept properly in weeks. His phone's GPS lost signal hours ago, and gas stations were growing rarer. A chill ran down his spine as he realized he couldn't remember the last time he'd seen another car on the road. The radio picked up nothing but static, with occasional snippets of voices that seemed to whisper his name. When night fell completely, Marcus noticed something odd. The white lane lines didn't reflect his headlights like they should. Instead, they seemed to absorb the light, as if made of a different material. And there was something else. Small white objects scattered along the road's shoulders that at first glance looked like rocks. Slowing down to get a better look, his stomach churned. They weren't rocks, they were bone fragments, some as small as fingers, others as large as femurs, all partially embedded in the shoulder as if trying to claw their way out of the asphalt itself. A sudden thud made Marcus slam on the brakes. His car had hit something. In the rearview mirror, he saw only darkness. He stepped out, trembling, flashlight in hand. Under the weak beam, he checked the road behind the car, but there was nothing. Just a strange indentation in the asphalt, like a giant footprint slowly smoothing itself back out. That's when he heard it, a muffled, rhythmic sound like a heartbeat. It didn't come from any one place. It seemed to rise from the road itself. He placed a hand on the asphalt and yanked it back instantly. It was warm, pulsing, and there was something else, a vibration, as if something massive was shifting. Beneath the surface, as he hurried back to the car, his feet seemed to sink deeper into the pavement than they should. Looking down, he saw, with growing horror, that the asphalt around his shoes was forming tiny wrinkles, as if it were contracting, as if it were tasting. Inside the car, his hands shook so badly he could barely turn the key. That's when he noticed a crumpled piece of paper on the passenger seat, a paper that hadn't been there before. Unfolding it, he instantly recognized Melissa's handwriting. It was a crude map of Highway 437, with a scrawled note, "She's eating again. I can't keep pretending I don't see." The road ahead looked darker now, swallowing the headlights' glow. And though there was no wind, the sedan swayed gently as if resting on something unstable, something alive. What tormented him most wasn't the fear of the unknown, but the terrible sense of familiarity, as if part of him already knew exactly what was happening. As if, maybe, he'd always known. The digital clock on the dashboard read 2:37 a.m. when Marcus realized he'd been driving the same stretch of road for hours, the same withered trees, the same broken lampposts, the same rusted sign reading "Detour ahead," everything repeated in identical intervals. It was impossible, but undeniable. The road was keeping him trapped, like an insect on flypaper. His phone now showed hundreds of missed calls from a number he recognized as Melissa's, a number that should have been disconnected months ago. The text messages were even more unsettling, repeated geographic coordinates and corrupted images that, when glimpsed, seemed to show massive mouths opening in the asphalt. A sharp pain in his leg made Marcus look down. Dark veins were spreading across his calf, creeping upward like black roots beneath his skin. He touched them and felt something writhe under his fingers. The veins pulsed with a viscous substance that wasn't blood. It was thicker, darker, like crude oil. The sedan started losing power, its headlights flickering as the engine coughed like a dying animal. In the growing gloom, Marcus spotted something at the road's edge. A car identical to his, half sunk into the asphalt as if being swallowed. And beside it, a familiar figure. It was Melissa, or something wearing her form, waving for him to come closer. With the engine's last gasp, Marcus swerved and stopped on the shoulder. His whole body trembled now, not just from fear, but from a growing sense that something inside him was changing. The dark veins had reached his chest and the pain was nearly unbearable. Stepping out of the car, his feet sank into the asphalt up to his ankles. It wasn't solid anymore. It had the consistency of hot tar. As he struggled to pull free, he saw he wasn't alone. Dozens of faces writhed in the road's surface, human features twisted in expressions of agony, as if trapped in a perpetual state of drowning. "You finally see," said the figure with Melissa's face, its voice a chorus of multiple people speaking at once. "The hunger road isn't a road. It never was." The figure pointed downward, and the asphalt around Marcus turned translucent. What he saw below nearly broke his mind. A colossal organic structure like a massive digestive system stretching for miles in every direction. What he'd thought was the road was merely the dorsal surface of something ancient and incomprehensible. The first settlers found it sleeping. The thing that wasn't his sister continued, moving closer with a fluidity too smooth to be human. They built over it, fed it tar and asphalt, thinking they were taming the land, but they only woke it up. Marcus tried to back away, but the asphalt now gripped his knees like ravenous quicksand. Around him, abandoned vehicles surfaced partially from the road, some recent, others older, all in various stages of digestion. That's when he realized the terrible truth. The hunger road wasn't a separate entity from the world. It was an appendage, a limb of something far larger, something that had been growing beneath Texas for centuries, maybe millennia, sending its pseudopods to the surface in the form of roads. Melissa figured it out, Marcus whispered, the pieces clicking together in his fractured mind. "That's why she joined the road willingly," the figure interrupted, its face now more asphalt than his sister's. "Some of us choose to merge. Others are chosen." Marcus's legs were fully submerged now, and he felt something moving inside them, dark filaments piercing his flesh, connecting him to the pulsing mass below. The horror of this realization was eclipsed only by the strange sense of belonging creeping into his consciousness. The pain faded, replaced by an expanded awareness. He could feel every car traveling the vast network of Texas roads, every vibration, every tire's impact. He could feel the creature's hunger, built up over decades of insufficient feeding. And worst of all, he could feel his own body becoming something else. No longer fully human, but not entirely part of the road. A hybrid, a translator between two realities. Marcus's last truly human thought was the horrific realization that roads have always been predators, always watching, always waiting. And now, after centuries of hibernation, the hunger road was fully awake, and it was starving. 3 months after Marcus Hayes vanished, Highway 437 reopened following an emergency repair. Official reports cited structural issues due to changes in the soil composition, nothing a fresh layer of asphalt couldn't fix. Sarah Mendez, a private investigator hired by Marcus's ex-wife, drove slowly along the newly paved road, On the passenger seat, a folder held the last traces of her investigation. Photos of strange accidents spanning decades, reports of people swearing they'd seen the road move, and the fragmented diary of Melissa Hayes, recovered from her apartment. After her suicide, the new asphalt was a deep, glossy black, almost shimmering under the Texas sun. Sarah noticed how the freshly painted white lines seemed to pulse subtly, like veins seen through skin. Her fingers tightened on the steering wheel as she passed a stretch where the pavement formed a pattern that, from the right angle, resembled a human face stretched in a silent scream. The radio crackled with a broken transmission, a voice that sounded eerily familiar, though Sarah had never met Marcus in person. "All roads lead inward," the voice said before dissolving into static. "She's growing, branching. Houston's the next node." Sarah switched off the radio with trembling hands. That's when she caught something in the rearview mirror, a figure at the road's edge, waving. It looked like Marcus, based on the photos she'd studied, but something was wrong with its posture, as if its body didn't work right. Slowing down, Sarah realized her mistake. It wasn't a man by the roadside. It was a formation in the asphalt that, in the twilight glow, cast a human-shaped shadow. But when she blinked, the illusion was gone, leaving only an empty shoulder. Her phone's GPS started acting erratically, recalculating the route over and over, suggesting detours to roads that didn't appear on any official map. The screen flickered with impossible coordinates, and for a moment, Sarah swore she saw a familiar pattern forming. The same design from Melissa's diary, resembling a circulatory system viewed from above. That's when Sarah noticed something she should have seen earlier. On every map, Highway 437 seemed insignificant, but when overlaid with satellite images and linked to other problematic Texas roads, it formed an unsettlingly organic pattern, like a web radiating from a central core. A violent jolt nearly made Sarah lose control of the car. Looking down, she saw with rising horror that the vehicle's floor was starting to give way, as if corroded by some invisible acid. Through the forming hole, she didn't see asphalt below, but a pulsing mass of material that looked both organic and mineral. Sarah floored the accelerator, but the car only groaned in protest, its wheels spinning without traction despite the seemingly dry surface. It was as if the road were holding the vehicle, gripping the tires with an unseen force. Her phone buzzed in her lap, a text from an unknown number. "Don't fight. It's easier when you accept. Ask Marcus." The car doors locked with a metallic click. The air conditioning began blowing a sour stench that smelled like hot asphalt and something more primal, the odor of organic decay. The dashboard went dark, and for a terrifying moment, Sarah saw reflections of faces writhing in the plastic surfaces, as if pressing through from the other side. A muffled sound drew her attention, rhythmic thumping from the trunk. With her eyes glued to the rearview mirror, Sarah watched the trunk's metal ripple, as if something were pushing from within. When it finally gave way, there was nothing but a darkness that seemed to stretch far beyond the car's physical dimensions. From that impossible darkness, a shapeless mass of fused asphalt and human remains slowly emerged. As it crawled into the back seat, parts of it took shape. Here, a perfectly preserved human arm. There, a face recognizable as Marcus Hayes, and further along, fragments of other unfamiliar faces. "We are the road now," the creature said, its voice a chorus of overlapping tones. "And the road is hungry." The asphalt beneath the car began to soften, and the vehicle sank slowly, as if being swallowed. Sarah fought frantically with the locked doors while watching, horrified, as dark veins identical to those described in Melissa's diary spread across her own arms. As the car sank, Sarah glimpsed the road's true nature, not just a predator, but a colossal parasite that had evolved to mimic human creations. The roads weren't built on the land. They were laid over something already there, waiting patiently. In her final moment of separate consciousness, Sarah grasped the terrible truth the Hayes siblings had uncovered. The lines in human palms and the patterns of roads on maps were no coincidence. We've always been part of the creature. We've always built roads because something inside us recognized their true purpose. Not to take us places, but to take us inward. And as her consciousness merged with the thousands of others absorbed by the road over centuries, a single collective thought emerged. The digestion was complete. It was time to expand. At the edge of Highway 437, a new traffic sign appeared overnight, seemingly installed by the highway authorities. New section. Under construction, Houston, 50 miles. The freshly laid asphalt gleamed under the Texas sun, inviting and deep. If you look closely, very closely, you could see it breathing. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends who love horror. The more shares, the faster our horror community grows. Comment below which part chilled you the most and what kind of story you want to see in the next episode.